My name is Pat Foley. I come from Kerry, in a little village called Myvan, near Listowel, in North Kerry. I was born in 1928, the 5th of July in 1928. I am now past 90 and about 4 months. I'm feeling well. I do exercise, I walk, do my push-ups and my chin-ups every day. The first time I left Ireland was in 1950. I met some friends, they were neighbours actually, that would come back on holidays. And they said, well, why don't you come to England? And I had finished high school at the time. And so I went off with them. And I went to the same lodgings as them. And they said, you know, you have to look around for a job. So the first job I went looking for was a bus conductor. So I didn't fancy that. I thought, gee, it's not much of a job. London was the home of having a good time for young fellas. Dancing at the Galtymore 3 times a week. I used to do ballroom dancing out at the Hammersmith Palais on a Sunday afternoon with my bow tie on and my black suit. Oh yeah. Oh, I learned the dancing in London. There was several schools, and Burton's in London, Burton's Hall. There was another one in Crickwood, Burton's, and they used to teach dancing there. You learn set dancing in Ireland when you're a kid. From my father, he was a step dancer. My father used to do step dancing. And you learned going to school. In school fetes, you had a dancing and all that sort of. My wife loves dancing. She's more of a jiver. I'm more of a ballroom dancer. So that's my lifestyle in dancing. Oh, the Crown in Cricklewood is a very large pub in North London. It's really favoured by the Irish, and very much so. And on St. Patrick's Day, the Black Mariahs come in there, 3 and 4 of them at a time, and they load them up and take them away, and they keep coming and taking them away. Oh, gee, it was some fun there. Watching them, and the fights that went on. Oh, boy. So that was the Crown. Then on the Crown, I would attend the bar on a Sunday morning after Mass. And you go to Mass, and after Mass, you come down, and we used to go in this side door, and all the bartenders were in there, you know, because it was flat out, because the Irish would be in for the weekend from out the country, and you were there pulling Guinness for the next 3 hours. I went to America in 51, and the Korean War was on at the time. And I went down to the enrollment office. I said, I would like to join the Navy, because I didn't want to go in the Army. Because my mate was killed about a week before that. I heard the news came through to me in England. My mate was killed there, and I didn't want to join the Army. I want to join the Navy. And they said, no, you can't join the Navy. He said, unless you're a citizen. Naturally, I wasn't a citizen. So I went down and booked my fare back to Ireland. I used to go to the gym, yeah, for doing exercise, you know, chin-ups and push-ups and leg stretches and all that sort of thing, you know, and pressed expanders and whatever. I felt a bit athletic, I suppose, some way or another. Done a bit of running as well in my younger days. In 52 was a very hard year, because I was everywhere in 52. I was in America twice. I came out to Australia for the company in 52. That was the English company, for the Snowy.
Yeah,
I came out in the scheme.
Tell us that story.
Well, the Snowy Mountains was a major electrical supply for the whole of New South Wales. The Rose of Tralee is in each city in Australia. Their competition, it's not just a beauty competition, it's talent, and I suppose really beauty comes into it, but it's not the main reason. So they hold these meeting, and there's a big ball, it's usually a ball, at each city they have one, and all these girls are dressed up in their beautiful frocks. And the competition, and one girl is picked, and they're picked from each state. Then they're sent back to Ireland. The Rose of Tralee is a worldwide thing. It's America, Canada, Europe, different countries in Europe, and they all go back to Tralee at the final. So I thought, well, the next St. Patrick has got to be Pat Foley. So, so I held that for how long? I was quite a long time with it.
What's your role as St. Patrick? What do you have?
Oh, and my role as St. Patrick is dress up as a bishop uniform, bishop robe and a bishop hat and all the rest of it, and you get on top of a float, and you just wave to the people, and they'll ask you questions, and they take 1,000 pictures of you that day, and you can't move anywhere. They're taking pictures with St. Patrick. So I go back there every 4 years. I've been back to Ireland about 5 times. But yes, I do. Still think of Ireland. I keep in contact with my brother and my sister and my nephews and niece as well. So still, Christmas time is a very busy time for holidaying and for telephone calls, what have you. Well, I can't say I miss too much now. I don't miss the weather. I suppose the camaraderie a bit, but for me now, all my mates are all dead and gone, and there's nothing much left for me in Ireland, you know. So I can't say I miss anything at the moment now.
My name is Damien McCloskey, and I was born and raised in the Bogside in Derry. I remember growing up in Derry, and we had a fun time. We were always playing football, and anybody who had a ball, they were the cock of the walk for that week until we burst it. Things changed dramatically with the civil rights, and with these marches, and with the English Army becoming involved, and the police, they gradually became more serious, and until fatalities became actually quite the norm. There was a civil rights campaign, of course, and probably the best known memory from that is Bloody Sunday. And I remember giving up my day to go and watch Derry City at the Brandywell, and there was a huge crowd at the march. I'm sure there would have been about 30,000 people. And Bernadette Devlin spoke, and it was the first time I realized what a wonderful speaker she was. Tragically, 14 people were killed, 13 on the day, one was to die later. 13 people were shot on the day, many of whom I knew well. Derry wasn't that big a city, and it was just so by surprise, standing listening to Bernadette Devlin, the army coming in on personnel carriers, and just the gunfire, and looking at it and thinking, what is happening? And just watching the bodies fall, and somehow trying to get my place behind a telegraph pole to give me some safety at that time. I couldn't watch people I knew be shot dead and not do something. So I knew if I stayed in Derry that I would have to take an active role in the military activities that were taking part. I was not afraid at all of taking part in these military activities. I was afraid of shooting or killing someone who was innocent. I remember it was a very common thing on a daily basis for the army to stop us in our car. Wind down your window, sir. Show me your license. You know, what's your name? Where are you going? where are you coming from? So we're going along the Altnagalvin Bridge, and we're going to play in the football match in the Brandywell Stadium. The army stops us, wind down your window. What's your name? Oh. And my friend was driving, Michael McBride. And where are you going, Michael McBride? Oh, I'm going to play a football match. And he looks across at the passenger and he says, and what's your name? And he says, my name's Michael McBride. And the soldier looked at him a bit stunned and said, and where are you going? He says, oh, I'm going to play a football match. And of course, this was my friend's son, who was also Michael. And then he looked in the back and he looked at the third passenger, and I was the fourth. He looked at the third passenger and he says, what's your name? And he said, Michael McBride. And the soldier, I felt his head was going to explode. He did not know what to do. It turned out that this person's name was Michael McBride. He was a cousin of my friend who was driving, Michael McBride. And you could see he was just waiting to explode. And then he said to me, and I was the fourth person, Damien McCloskey. And he said, and what's your name? And I looked at him and I could feel Mickey's eyes piercing me. And I said, Michael McBride. And he said, all you fucking Michael McBrides, get out of that car and stand here on the bridge. And we did. And he got my friend and he looked at his driver's license. He said, show me your identification. And Michael McBride, of course, his driver's license. He turned to his son, show me your identification. His driver's license, Michael McBride. And he did the same with the third person, his cousin, who was Michael McBride. And with seeing the third Michael McBride in a row, somehow that seemed to clarify any doubts about the Michael McBride, and he never came to me. He just finished with that, and he called all his friends over, all the soldiers, and he said, you'll never believe this. He says, all these people in the car are called Michael McBride. And we were treated like royalty. He said, well, good luck in your match, and I'm sure we'll meet again. And I remember my friend Michael McBride saying to me afterwards, he says, why the fuck did you say that? He says, I knew you would, he says, but they could have shot us just as easy as if things had gone wrong. And then we just burst out laughing. All four Michael McBrides. Fort George was the headquarters of the British Army. It was in Blease Lane in Derry. And if the army stopped you and they had any suspicion, they would take you to Fort George. And I remember one day in particular, it's almost like something you would see in a movie. They interviewed me with a light. They asked me the sort of questions, who lives beside you in your street that belongs to the IRA? And this particular time, they said, if you don't tell us what we want to know, we're going to throw you out of a helicopter. And they took me out to a helicopter and they blindfolded me and they put me in this helicopter. And they took off and they asked me the same sort of questions. And it turned out, I won't say his name, there was a very well-known IRA person who lived directly opposite me. And they asked me these questions, blindfolded. The helicopter went up. I didn't know how high we were. And he asked me the questions and he said, I'm going to throw you out if you don't answer these questions. And I just said, it's not that I'm not answering them, I don't know the answers. I did actually know the answers, but I wasn't telling anything. And eventually, I felt his hand on my back and he pushed me out. What I didn't know was the helicopter had taken off and had only taken off maybe, I don't know, 15 feet. I'm not sure. But I was blindfolded and expected to go crunching to the ground and meet my doom. Instead, I broke a couple of bones, got obviously a very bad knocking. But they then took me out, they put me in a Land Rover, and they took me to the end of my street and set me out because I was badly injured. But nowhere near what would have happened. And that was Fort George. It didn't have a good reputation among the Catholics in Derry. Well, I finished school at St. Colum's College and I went to university, and I came back to Derry and was teaching in Derry when one day my friend Hugh Breslin said to me, he said, I've heard that they're looking for teachers in Sydney. He says, I'm thinking of going. And I said, well, I'll go with you. And we were changing the oil in my car, an old Morris Minor, I remember at the time, and you've never seen blacker oil in your life. And between starting to change the oil and finishing it, we had made a decision that would forever change our lives.
My name is Mary McMillan, Murphy that was, and I come from Dublin, Ireland. Today I'm going to perform a little piece I've written entitled My Sensuality. My sensuality. I wanna be free like Muhammad Ali. I want to be young. I want to have fun, preferably with someone well hung, 'cause cogito ergo sum. But to stay juvenile, I must run a mile, brighten my smile, tighten my triceps, my curvaceous biceps, and tone, yes, tone that new erogenous zone. The deltoid at the top of my arm for strength, supposedly, is the new sensuality. Whereas in my reality, things intellectual, things experiential are what give me my reality. I've raced and I've paced on the treadmills of grief. I bulked up in life's gymnasium with barbells of neurons from my tough cranium. Now I am a cougar. A cougar in my wisdom, the wisdom of my journey, the journey of my experience. My lovers, those tosses, my profits and losses, my birthings and labours. They're what have given me my sensuality. Don't you see? I'm a doll in my dotage. I am a new ancient, an ancient Aphrodite. Now, I am the greatest.
Is mise Thomas de Waldre, agus tam sas Rathminish in Malar Clia me. My name is Thomas de Waldre. I'm from Rathmines in Dublin. Tógul a gailge buid, gailge Somália, agus vi símeg maher I Frankish agus a deangacha eile. Agus vi deishagan Frankish a lauert freshen, cuidiú gachtaine gan chláán a nún go dtín rank fear cúpla mí, nó go dtín Nidal, nó go dtín Spáin. Bhín deisen agan, bhín tá dearag orann. Bhfuil gach saora héach muid go dtí an chearú rua I Gunnamara, agus chachach muid 3 mhí in sin le líon na saoire scoile. Well, ní bháin sin ach bhí sim agam sa bharige, agus an máid, agus iascaireacht, agus an síl faoi chéile. Bhí go leor colcearcha linn a rinne an rud céanna, agus bhíoch muid I lug ar an gearr rua in éindí. Bhíoch muid, nuair a bhí muid ar a gearr rua, chumaid isteach go háran le Mike O'Brien, is ag a bhí an Tony, agus bhí tre tuairt món isteach go háran. nó le Johnny Jimmy fear an waidin wara a bhíocha tuairt món go háireann freisin, sin ein slí bheithe bhí Jacob. Bhí púcán ag dearlam, Pádraig, my brother had a púcán back in the 70s, and not long after that a glóteag, and I got a glóteag myself then. And I did a lot of sailing, and we used to go to all the regattas around the area during the summer. And to Kinvara, during August, that was usually the last regatta of the season. I used to help a good friend of mine, Con McCann, who had the Connacht. And we used to bring it around Ireland every year. He had it either in Carrickfergus or in Strangford, and we'd bring it north about or south about, depending on the weather and the winds and so on. He'd go to all the regattas, and then I'd bring it back home to Belfast or to Carrickfergus or wherever he had it moored, Strangford as well. I went to Brest and to Arnonay in Brittany 1 year and back. That's probably the longest trip I've done. My father was in New York somewhere, and he walked into a bookshop. And what did he see but a book of black and white photographs of Ireland? And he was paging through the book bit by bit, and wow, lo and behold, in the very middle of it, he saw a photograph of his own son, Damien, and I was smoking a fag at the time. So I bought the book, and he sent me a cursory note. It's an awful pity you had a fag in your mouth. It's more than true, will do a fag. Agus picture bra on. I was a school teacher for a number of years, and when I took avail of the leave of absence scheme that the government brought in the 80s in Ireland in order to alleviate the job shortages in health and nursing and teaching, I came out to Sydney for a year for a holiday, ended up working in customs in Sydney Airport for the last 18 years until I retired. Well, tá gaeilge reisin do wahagam. I speak French, fairly fluent French. Ça va très bien. Nous sommes ici ce matin. Vous allez parler avec moi ce matin parce qu'il y a pour le festival de films irlandais de Chauvel l'année prochaine. Vous allez faire une pièce des Irlandais qui habitent ici à Sydney. Ils parlent de le temps en Irlande ou ici à Sydney. Daarom orange. Jeg snakker norsk. Jeg snakker flink norsk. Jeg bodde i Norge siden 71 til 73. Jeg var der gjennom fellesmarked avstemming. Maar voor mij kan al skolarecht dal gegenereerd le trachte smartrachte jene se schandalicht. Ach, ga mij gelorgen om en sin een aardwee kreeg nu mocht stader. Go me gobber tuskerecht son onfachtes nai en gewarge. O geminnig nu de weg mij dal zu London. Ik nam sin nu vi na tribladje schools tuskert. Agus vi disje goni korkestart maar vi pas agus en gaelge agad. Pas nach agus tanim en gaelge. Hiel sied a buinte. Gorot tu mar jashid heen. Gorot tu partach no taku. Les na poblachtani no an IRA. Agus chuirdís kestart foi in sin agus geminnig vi sé nárach an chuí chuirdís kestart. What's your name in English? That's my name. It's in Irish. That is my name. And I would say, what's your name in Chinese? And that would infuriate some of the police and security in London. If it's in Greek, you won't ask a Greek person, or an Italian, what's your name in English, will they? Why do they have to ask an Irish person, what's his name in English, if his name is in Irish? I find that most objectionable. Well, now I'm retired and both my sons are working. I would sooner be anywhere but in Sydney. Sydney is all right when you're working. When you're not working, okay, the weather might be fine, but I'm never at ease in Sydney when I'm not working. I suppose, like anyone, we have regrets of things we did in life, but my proudest moment is rearing two fine boys, and they're healthy and intelligent and good-hearted and decent citizens. That's all you can do. That's all I could ask for. And I like to keep in touch with my friends and family and travel, if I can afford it, back to Ireland or back to Europe between now and the day of reckoning. Let's put it at that.
My name is Murin Niwilon is Anamdam. Murin Colleen Johnny as a mommy in Letchermore, Candana Galiva. Goil go Rojas, Tagam, Ta, Goil Goa. Looking back, it was the best childhood you could ever wish for. Small village, very wonderful community, spirit. Everybody helped everybody out if there was anything needed. Everybody came out when we had the turf, saving the turf in summertime. We'd all sort of help each other. It was just wonderful. And then we'd sort of go into the shore in summertime and pick periwinkles and sell them off for maybe a whole bag for only £5, but it was like £5 million pounds in them days, so it was great. I wanted to travel, you know. My sights were set on long distances, far away. So I had two brothers in Australia, so here, and one in Sydney, one in Melbourne. So I was dreaming of sort of definitely going there. Hence the fact that I wanted to get to London and save some money and do some travelling. Well, my brother was home on holidays. John came home for holidays, they do in summertime, and he sort of more or less suggests, well, he was sort of saying, oh, you know, talking about London and how wonderful it was and what a big city, you know, all this wonderful stories. And I thought, oh gosh, this sounds too good to be true, so I need to check it out. So I went over for the summer holidays when I finished my Leaving Cert. And I loved it, of course. So I went to London in 1974. And I stayed with my sister. She had a house in Northolt in Middlesex, so I stayed with her. I managed to keep a day job and a night job, and the weekend work now and again when I wasn't in the Galtymore dancing or wherever there was a Cayley on or a dance somewhere in London. So it was good times. We used to go to the Galtymore, so that was Sunday night, and that would start at 7 o'clock in the evening and go until 2 or 3 in the morning, and then of course we'd have to get up for work the next day, but that was fine. And you'd dance the night away. They had 2 dance halls in the Galtymore. They had this side where the Cayleys were, and then the other side you could do any dancing you wished, you know, the disco, whatever. So we'd meet people from home there. It would be great. You'd sort of catch up with a lot of the Connemara people, which was wonderful, and we'd be speaking the Irish, and it was lovely. Great crack altogether. And the big bands that come over from home, like Big Tom and the Mainliners, Margot, Philomena Begley, you know, you name it, they'd be coming to the Galtee because the crowd were massive. Like the Irish in London in them days, it was just crowded, packed to the gills. So yeah, we had a great time. Okay, so I was in London and we used to get the Irish Post. So I was browsing through it, and of course I spotted this ad for companions to travel to Australia. So somebody had put the ad in, and I thought, oh, this sounds good. I could respond to that. And of course, in them days, it was all about writing. There was no mobiles or anything like that, which was wonderful. So anyways, I responded to the ad, and the girl happened to be from Kerry, and her name was Sheila Godfrey. And months went by, so it took a while to she wanted to know what I was doing and why I was interested in going to Australia, and overland, of course, which was the exciting part. And I just said, you know, I just want to travel and I just want to see the world. And of course, in them days, we didn't have the maps. We only had the maps, the to look at. So we didn't really, personally speaking, I didn't have a clue where I was going. I just thought, oh, well, we're going here, we're going there, you know, let's just do it. We had no idea. Well, I didn't, personally speaking. So it was great. I think it was better, you know. They say fear of the unknown, but I had no fear of the unknown, so. And then again, I was only, you know, 20s, so 20-ish, so what do? You go with it. Well, we got to Earl's Court, and my family were with me, my sister and her husband and the child and my brother. We got to Earl's Court to catch the bus, the overland bus to Nepal, and it had intercontinental transits. That was the bus company. And we were standing around waiting and looking. There was heaps of buses there, and then my brother, as a mechanic, he started looking around, he's going, where's the bus you're travelling on? And I said, oh, you know, over there is the Intercontinental Transit one. And he looks at it and he says, oh my gosh, he said, that bus is not going to bring you to Dover, let alone to Nepal. So anyway, he was very concerned, but I wasn't. I thought, oh, we'll be fine. We'll be great. So he was right, you know. Every time we were travelling a bit and the bus would stop and the driver would get out and lift the bonnet and start hammering something in it, and away we'd go again for another while. And eventually we got to Dover and crossed on the ferry to Calais. So we made it to there, and then we sort of travelled from there on through Europe, and kept going. We were going to Yugoslavia, and then the night before we were stopped on the border of Austria and Yugoslavia in them days. So we had our sleeping bags, and we slept in our sleeping bags, and we were all sort of fast asleep, and in the middle of the night, about 3 or 4 in the morning, there was a bang. So we were all rolling. We woke up rolling, and I thought I was having a nightmare, just rolling away in the bus, and discovered, of course, that we had been hit by another bus from behind, and we had rolled over an embankment, and they had rolled over the embankment on the other side of the road, and their driver got killed, whereas our passengers in the back of our bus got badly. The guy that was in the back seat, he was stretched out in the back seat, he got broken bones, he couldn't move, he was just paralysed. So he was transferred by air back to London the next day, and a few more. Like, I had swapped seats with a a bloke that night when it happened, and the seat that he moved into, where I had been, he lost his arm and his ear. So I was very lucky that I sort of, had swapped seats with him, thank God. And so we ended up in hospital in Tito Veles, and they didn't speak English and we didn't speak Yugoslav, so it was a difficult situation to be in, but we survived. We sort of lost a few of our passengers, unfortunately, sadly. And the other thing was the police were very corrupt there. So they kept blaming our driver for the accident. So we were actually on house arrest for about a week. We weren't allowed out of the hotel because of the fact that we could be guilty of causing an accident, or the driver was, so he eventually got his solicitor from London to bail him out. And there was a lot of people traveling in them days overland. It was kind of the done thing for young people to sort of say, oh yeah, let's do an overland trip to Australia. So the main countries would have been, say, France, Germany, Austria, Yugoslavia, Greece, Turkey, Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, into India, and then up to Nepal. That would be usually the area they would travel through, the buses, and they would usually end up in either India or Nepal, whichever one you choose. Looking back, it's like a dream, really. It feels like it's a dream. Only that I look at the photos now and again and think, oh my gosh, have I done this? Have I been there? And we did go through a lot of danger zones as well, and we did a lot of things that we shouldn't have done. But, once again, it was just the joys of innocence. We walked around Iran, for example, in Tehran with maybe we didn't cover up like we should as females in them days, and we used to get followed by a lot of men. And, it was kind of daunting in a way, but in another way we were having great fun. We were thinking it was really funny having these guys chasing us around the streets of Tehran or wherever we were at the time. We drove from New Delhi to Agra and then to the Taj Mahal. And once we hadn't done our research, but coincidentally, we got there on the full moon. And that's why everybody's dream is to get to the Taj Mahal on a full moon. So we were very lucky. It was so beautiful. They were singing, chanting in the Taj when we got there. The moon was shining, full moon shining, and of course we got all this water out the front of it, and the reflections on that water was just amazing. So we'll never forget it. Going into the Taj, all this marble built for love, it was just amazing. The social life in Sydney in the 1970s when we got here, it was just amazing. Like the first place we visited, of course, was the Gaelic Club at Devonshire Street. And that was it. It was like walking into some centre in Dublin or Galway, wherever we came from. It was just, and the Irish here they're different to London again. They're more, they just want to know about home. Because I suppose London is so close to Ireland, they don't worry too much. But here, everybody embraces you. We used to go to the Texas Tavern that have music all night, or we'd go to the Bourbon and Beefsteak up on King's Cross and that have music. It was all to do with the dancing, the singing, and the company, and a few drinks. There was nothing else. We were just enjoying life to the full, and we sure did that. I really enjoy my life. Got 4 beautiful children, 3 girls and a boy, and now my son has got a grandchild, which we adore, and the story, I'm very, very content.